If you're still manually dragging your formulas down every time you add a new row of data, you're wasting hours of your life. Not only is it slow, but if you forget to drag it down, your entire report will be incorrect. There's a single character on your keyboard, one symbol that completely fixes this. It's called the hash spill operator. Most Excel users ignore it, but in this video, I'm gonna show you how this one character will make your spreadsheets completely dynamic and impossible to break. And here's the roadmap for today. First, we'll need to clarify what a dynamic array actually is. Second, I'm gonna save you a headache by explaining why this doesn't work inside official Excel tables. And finally, I'll walk you through 3 different examples from beginner to advanced so you can start using this today. To understand the hash operator, you first need to understand the concept of spilling. In the old days of Excel, one formula equaled one cell. If you want 5 results, you needed 5 formulas. In modern Excel, functions like unique, filter, and sort are dynamic. You write the formula in one cell and the results spill into the neighboring cells automatically. That blue border, that's the spill range. The hash operator is simply how we talk to that range. So before we get to the examples, a major warning. You might be tempted to try this inside an official Excel table. You know, the one with the alternating colored rows. It won't work. Excel tables do not support dynamic spilling yet, but if you try to spill data inside a table, you'll get a spill error. The hash operator is designed to work outside of tables, often referencing data from a table. So let's go ahead and take a look at our first example in Excel. Here in Excel, I have a list of sales transactions with a couple different customer names that contain duplicates. So what I want to do is I want to sort these out by unique customer values. All right, so in cell G2, I'm going to type equals unique. Press tab to lock it in, and I'm gonna select my array for my customer names. I'm gonna go ahead and press Control Shift down. And then just to increase my array, I'm gonna drop it down to row 110, press parentheses and press enter. And then we see we have a consolidated list of all of our customer names without duplicates. However, we have that little pesky 0 in there since we dropped it all the way down to row 110. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back up to cell G2, and then I'm gonna wrap this function with an if function. So our logical test is if our unique values are not equal to a blank cell, and we'll just use that with 2 quotations. We'll press comma, and then we'll select our function right here, unique. We'll press copy and we'll paste that in. And then if our values are false, we'll just go ahead and do a double quotation without a space. And then we'll go ahead and clean that up and we clear up the 0. So one thing to very importantly call out is in our unique function, we see that cell G2, we can access our function. However, in cell G3 and beyond, we see it's all grayed out. So we can't go in there and change anything. We can't adjust this at all. And what this is this is a spill function. This spills out all the data for us in a nice clean fashion. And if we want to go ahead and adjust anything, we can do that in cell G2. But now if I want to go in and reference our spilled list anywhere, let's say I want to pull this into a dashboard or some other function, I can go ahead and press equals. And if I just select G2 and press enter, we see that I just have our text solutions. However, if I go in and do G2 with the hash operator, you see that the entire spilled range is selected. And I can go ahead and press enter, and we see we have a carbon copy of our data. What's great about this though is if I go in here and say we have a new customer, let's go ahead and type in Marble Inc. I go ahead and add that, and we can see that our list automatically updates. One, because we have the dynamic unique function, and we're combining that with our hash operator. The second example is one of my favorites. It is a self-updating drop-down list in Excel. We'll combine the sort and unique functions with the hash operator to create a dynamic drop-down list. This is handy if you have a list for your departments, but new departments or cost centers are added frequently. So let's go ahead and take a look. All right, so in cell F2, I'm gonna do equals sort, followed by unique. And then I'm gonna go ahead and select all of my departments and then press enter. And this is where the magic happens. So in cell H2, I'm gonna go ahead and go to data and then data validation and select our list from the validation criteria. And then our source will be our list of departments right here. I will back out everything and then put in a hash operator after cell F2 because that will automatically spill and catch our list. We'll press OK. And then we see we have a full list of all of our selected departments. But let's go ahead and back down to our table in cell D12 and say we add a operations department. But what we can see is that our list automatically updated right here with operations. And then in cell H2, we see another department automatically added. And then we can keep doing this with all sorts of different departments, as many as we can come up with. Let's just say that we keep adding them. They will continue to be added to our list. and then they will continue to be added to our drop-down list as well. And this is a really powerful trick. If you have something that's dynamic that you're always adding values to, you can use the hash operator to leverage that list and always capture all of those updates. In our third example, we're going to combine the hash operator with an Xlookup function to pull a top 3 salespeople totals from a table. So let's go ahead and take a look. All right, so in this example, I want the top 3 sales from each sales rep, and cell F2, I'm gonna do equals take, press tab to lock that in, and then sort by, press tab to lock that in, and then I'm gonna select 2 different arrays. Our first will be all of our sales rep right here. I'll press comma to lock that in. And then our second array will be all of our total sales right here. Because remember, we want the top 3 salespeople from our table. And then I'm gonna press comma, and then our sort order will be a -1 for ascending values. And then I'll press parentheses to lock in our sort by function. We'll press comma, and then we want to return our top 3 rows. We'll press parentheses to lock that in, and then press enter. And then we see that we have Michael Scott, Dwight Schrute, and Stanley Hudson as our top 3 earners, but there's a problem: we don't have their values. And that is where our hash operator comes in. So we'll press equals Xlookup, and then we'll select our value. We'll select F2, but this time we're gonna put a hash right there, and you see that Excel automatically selected all of our salespeople. And then we'll press comma, and then our lookup array will be all of our sales reps. We'll go ahead and press comma, and then our return array will be their total sales. We'll press parentheses to lock that in, and then boom, we see automatically we have all of their sales put together in ascending order. And what's so powerful about this is we don't have to use any absolute reference cells with using our $signs or F4. Excel automatically calculates that for us. And what's really cool is if we went back into this function right here, and let's say instead of the top 3, we want the top 6, we see that it automatically updates for us. We have 6 values right here and their associated sales, all organized from highest earner down to the lowest earner automatically. So the hash operator allows you to build references that expand and contract like a living organism in Excel. You solve the problems of static ranges, breaking your reports, but here's the catch. The hash operator is only good as the source data it's referencing. If your original data is messy, duplicate heavy, or unorganized, you're gonna spill garbage data faster. You need to know how to clean and prep your data using functions before you spill it. I broke down the exact cleaning functions I use, like text split and trim, in the video right up here. So click here to learn those functions so your dynamic arrays actually look professional. I'll see you there.